You know, like most people, I never really put much thought into the pencils I used. At least until this one fateful day when I got this box of Ticonderoga pencils, and looking at the box, I saw they claimed to be the world's best pencil. Now that's a strong claim. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of pencils out there. Someone needs to test it out to see if they're telling the truth. And you know what? I, the person who has no real pencil experience whatsoever, think I'm the guy for the job. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I fell down a rabbit hole, searching articles, forums, videos to find the best pencils in the game. Then I shoved them into my Amazon cart to have them shipped here. Also, we could find the true world's best pencil. And I honestly think with all the pencils we have here today, we may have a shot at it. Also, if there's a pencil that you think deserves to be here and you do not see it, I probably wanted it here. But honestly, I ran out of money pretty quickly. Pencils are expensive. You know, I often like to joke that I get into hobbies just enough that they become expensive. So honestly, I am hoping that I do not like these pencils that much, because I do not need another really expensive hobby. But you know what? Despite all my complaints about price, there's actually a pretty good variety of price ranges throughout these pencils. A lot of these are actually quite affordable. Oh yeah, I also have this package of charcoal for artists. This is not for the comparison though. This is honestly just for if I get hungry mid-recording. So before I take the look at all these other pencils, what I want to do is I want to take a look at the Ticonderoga to kind of get a baseline of what we're looking for in a pencil. So I'm going to put down my little notebook and let's take out our little Ticonderoga pencils. So from my research, Ticonderoga is from the company Dixon. Apparently, Dixon has been around since 1812, which that's a pretty long time for a company. That's over a century. Additionally, Dixon is a cool gosh dang American brand. You know, all American. Woo! Guns. The number 2 pencil as we know it today was not invented till around 1913, which still makes this pencil over a century old. So from first impressions, this pencil goes on the page pretty decently. Smudging, not horrible. The eraser's pretty great. Honestly, a great baseline pencil. There's not much wrong with it, honestly. I don't really know how to judge pencils, but I'm assuming this is how you do it from the little bit of pencil YouTube I watched. I guess we won't really know how good this is until we compare it to our other pencils. Which brings us to our next pencil, the Papermate Sharpwriter. These are the pencils that when I'm in lectures, I'm taking notes with. I like how they have that bit of bounciness to them. It's nice. I feel like it puts less pressure on my wrist. These pencils use 0.5 thickness lead. I don't think the thickness of the lead has much result on the actual darkness of the result. I think it's how the lead is made. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Honestly, from first impressions, this lead, it is darker than the Ticonderogas. I feel like it smudges a bit more though. Eraser though is still great. Honestly, I think it may be a bit better than the Ticonderoga. I don't know if it's just in the way I wrote it out and erased it. Maybe it's a difference in the lead, but I really like that eraser performance. But it is definitely darker than this Ticonderoga. And you also have that advantage of your lead is always going to be a thin point instead of the Ticonderoga, which is obviously going to dull out and you have to keep sharpening it. So far what we have looked at has been pencils that I feel that most people have seen or heard of or even used. What I want to look at now is a brand of pencils that most people probably have never seen, which is the Mitsubishi. Yes, the car company Mitsubishi. I feel like Mitsubishi making pencils is kind of like how Yamaha makes motorcycles, but also makes saxophones. It's just two things that don't feel like they should belong together. But for some reason, they just exist that way. I don't know, it's fun, I don't care. Actually though, for this pencil, we're gonna have to pull out this trusty pencil sharpener that I bought for this video. Oh, look at that, made in Germany. So this is a 2-tiered pencil sharpener. I don't know which point goes first. Oh, it says 1, 2. Okay, that makes sense. As the name implies, you sharpen it in 2 tiers. One gets it to the initial point of sharpness, and then the other one finishes it off, gets it that extra little bit of sharpness. Oh yeah, so look at that. The tip of our pencil is now flat, so it's obviously not fully sharpened, which is where the second tier comes in, where we get that nice, perfect sharpen. Oh my gosh, that's really nice. I really like 2-tier pencil sharpeners. That is going in my pencil case no matter what. I've never used a 2-tier sharpener before, but that is magic. It is witchcraft. And so far, off of first impressions, this is our darkest pencil so far. That goes on really dark. That makes me kind of wonder how it's gonna smudge later on. Well, this specific pencil I'm using is not listed on their US website. It's exclusive to their main Japanese website. According to that site, these pencils are actually intended for office use. I actually found some other fun stuff when searching around their Japanese site, like how they did a collaboration with Adidas. Yeah, that's right, you can get Adidas pencils. That's so much fun, I love that. Now, something that's pretty interesting about this version of the 9852 is that it's apparently made out of recycled wood. So, look at me being environmentally friendly. Another interesting thing is that this 9852 is apparently a spin-off of the 9800. The only big difference being that the 9852 has an eraser, while the 9800 does not. And based on the other Japanese pencils I looked at, not having an eraser does not seem to be very uncommon, which I guess that's why there's so much eraser-based drama in anime. If the pencils just had erasers on the back, there would be so much less discourse over these erasers. You know, I find this pretty interesting. I feel it's not smudging that much compared to the rest. I kind of really like that. I guess with all this talk about erasers though, we should see how it erases, and oh my gosh, this is horrible. Am I crazy? What if I use this good eraser? Okay, the good eraser is also not really getting rid of it. What if I kind of go with like a lighter stroke, like a more normal writing? It's still doing a pretty trashy job at getting rid of it. The Ticonderoga is also not doing good, but it's most definitely doing better on it, which sucks because I honestly really like the way like this writes, like the actual like lead touching the paper part of it. I think it's really nice. I like the look of it. It feels good to write with. I'm able to put like very little pressure and get like pretty dark lines. I like the way this one writes. It's just the eraser is garbage. It doesn't work for this. I'm upset. I was so close to really liking this one. I would need to have a separate eraser and have all that eraser drama. I might as well gotten the 9800 that didn't have an eraser on it because it's not a good eraser. It feels cheap and bad. Oh my gosh, I'm sad. It was so close. So while you can't buy the 9852 in America, Mitsubishi actually has a brand called Uni, which can be found in the US. Which the Uni brand is probably best known for the Posca paint markers, but what they also make is this, the Kurotoga, which this pencil they actually do natively sell in the US. I don't know why mine has the Japanese on it. I could have accidentally bought an import. Who knows? But the Kurotoga is actually a relatively newer pencil, having only been released in like 2008 or something. But I've actually heard really great things about this as a mechanical pencil. The whole gimmick of it is that basically as you write, the lead will rotate, so it will constantly have a sharp edge on the lead. And from what I've seen, it actually does that and people like it. I do have to say, I paid $5 for this pencil. And honestly, for what I paid, it feels really well built. Like, I don't feel like the plastic is gonna give at all. It has a good satisfying click to it. Don't know if you can hear that. It's a good click. Like the Papermate, it uses 0.5 thickness lead. As you can see though, with what I was saying earlier about lead thickness not affecting the darkness, this is the Papermate. It looks significantly darker in my opinion than this Kurotoga, which honestly makes sense, so I'm just gonna assume it's correct. Honestly, it writes really well, and I don't think that's much because of this rotating bit, and more of just because it's a pencil that feels really good in the hand. But honestly, I could see me just taking this one around to write because it just feels good to use. Oh my gosh, look at that smearing. That smearing is pretty bad. I think that may be the worst smearing we've had so far. Whoa. It also, oh wait, what? I was just about to say it does not have an eraser, but apparently it does. I guess we have to do an eraser test. What the fudge? That eraser works so much better than Mitsubishi's other eraser. Mitsubishi, what are you doing? Take this eraser, put it on this gosh dang pencil. What are you doing? This pencil could be so great if you just put this eraser. This eraser's good. You were so close. You have the eraser technology, Mitsubishi. You just need to fuse these together. Honestly though, I really like this pencil. This is gonna go into my pencil case. Golly, all this pencil reviewing's making me hungry. Luckily though, I did pack snacks. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness I brought these snacks. Pencil reviewing is so much fun. Yep. Not that I didn't like the charcoal. I just had to, I always have tea with my charcoal. There is totally a possibility that they could have coated that charcoal with like chemicals or something and I could totally die. So we're just gonna pray I don't. I did not read the back of that to make sure that it wasn't gonna kill me. I really am just praying it doesn't. So let's just ignore my impending doom and let's take a look at these Tombow pencils. To be specific, it's the Tombow 2558 for office, school, and family use. Tombow does have other pencils that are also really well liked. But I picked this one honestly because I was scared of the other ones that did not have erasers. Some other Tombow pencils that from the pencil bloggers I was reading seem pretty well liked are the Tombow 8900 and the Tombow 100 HB. I'm sure that there are other ones that people like and will like swear by, but those are just two of the ones I saw. I just can't get over how good of a sharpener this is. It gets such a good blade out of it. I love it. This is our darkest pencil yet. Like look at that compared to the Mitsubishi. That's really dark. It also has a bit of a texture to it. I do have to say, just right off the bat, that smear looks pretty bad. Like I was able to get a slight bit of smear just by wiping my hand on it like that. That is not a good sign. But let's do our quick smear tests and oh my gosh, this pencil is a pretty smeary. Like the way it goes down is nice and I like how dark it is, but that's a good bit of smear. How does it erase? It erases fairly good. I mean, if I had this pencil in my pencil bag, I would not be complaining. It's a good pencil. The smear scares me. Let's move on to our next pencil, the Rotring 600. Now this is another pencil that I've had for a while. It's kind of been my daily driver that I've kept at my desk. Ooh, my lead just broke there. Ooh, not a good start for it. Rotring as a company, they were founded in 1928 in Germany, which actually our pencil sharpener, again, also made in Germany. Ah, what connections, oh my gosh. But Rotring, they basically, from what I can tell, make like premium writing devices. And I mean, just by looking at this pencil, it's like a premium looking, premium feeling pencil. It is made out of pretty much all metal. It's a pretty weighty pencil. And again, it's by far like the most expensive pencil I have. It retails at around like $30 for a single pencil. It's overkill, but it feels really nice. You feel like a business executive about to work on the big papers for the billion-dollar deal. But I mean, I don't actually really use this for many extended writing sessions. It's mainly like quick notes on sticky notes and stuff like that. And for that, it feels really good. Honestly, if you do it like light, the lead is fairly bright, but like mainly when I'm writing it, I put a decent bit of pressure on because of the weight. I would say it's on the darker side of the lead that we're using, which makes me wonder if it's gonna smudge, but I would have to say this is the most like smudge resistant lead that we have used so far. I really like this lead. Like the Kurotoga, this pencil actually has its eraser in the cap, and what can I say? It's a pretty decent erase. Probably on the same level as the Kurotoga. The two erasers look eerily similar. I don't know, I really like this pencil. I'm keeping it in my arsenal, but I'm also gonna be keeping it in my arsenal at my desk. Because again, expensive pencil. I will lose this pencil if I take it out. I just know it. I lose this pencil when it's on my desk. I place it in my desk and I forget where I put it on my desk and it's a mess. I'm a mess of a guy. I'm struggling out here. But with that pencil now aside, it's time to move on to our last batch of pencils, the Blackwings. Now, what I bought was the Blackwing 4-pack, which has their 4 different kinds of pencils. The natural, the 602, the pearl, and the matte. I paid $15 for the 4 of these pencils. That is a good bit of money. If you were to not buy the sample pack though, and you were to buy a full 12-pack of Blackwings, you would be paying $30 for those 12 pencils though, which makes it around like $2 to $3 for each of those pencils, which I understand is like a pretty good bit of money for a pencil. But I guess Blackwing can kind of charge that much money because they're kind of pencil royalty. I'm gonna start by taking out this natural one to look at first. Now the natural's lead is supposed to be pretty firm, which supposedly makes it a more precise pencil. It also makes it so you have to sharpen your pencil less, which is nice for longer writing sessions where you want to be uninterrupted. So I guess we're gonna have to turn on to the next page for these Blackwings. Let's rip this side paper out so we can still compare everything. Yeah, I would consider this pretty soft. I would still consider the Ticonderoga significantly lighter, but it is a lighter lead compared to a lot of these other ones. I would have to say it's a decently schmeary lead, but Blackwing has these fancy little erasers, and I've been really itching to see how well they erase. Are they really as fancy as they look? Huh. Let's look at it compared to our baseline. This is how our Ticonderoga erases, and this is how our Blackwing erases. So actually, while its end result is a little bit lighter, it took significantly less time, significantly less pressure to get to that point. I do have to say, I think I kind of like the Blackwing a bit more in terms of erasing. The next pencil we have up is the Blackwing 602, and this pencil is pencil royalty. The 602 originally came out in 1934, and it was a product of the Ebhard Faber Pencil Company, which is a German pencil company. Once again, leading into a theme that all pencil companies, they're either German or they're Japanese. I don't know why. I guess they're just good at pencils. They got that like secret sauce. The Pencil 2 has a firmer lead, and its whole shtick was that despite it being a softer lead, that it still had a pretty good rate of wear. And while this pencil was not that widely popular, it did have its core fan base. Disney animators used it, writers used it, the composer John Williams used it, which is pretty cool. I did not know that. Apparently it even makes a brief cameo in the movie Jaws. And while that does not mean that much in the grand scheme of things, it's still pretty cool. And I guess the question that comes up is, if people like this pencil so much, why was it discontinued? Well, basically, through a series of acquisitions, the Blackwing pencils were owned by a whole different company in the 90s. And what happened was when the machine that I think made these little metal bits for the eraser broke, they just sold such a small amount of these pencils that they're like, hey, it's not really worth it to fix these. But just because they no longer produce Blackwings does not mean the die-hard fans went away. And apparently, like, after the pencils got discontinued, there were records of like Blackwings being sold online for around $40 per pencil. Which, if the price was not already like pretty perplexingly high, that's even more perplexingly high. Huh. I really don't know about the smudging on these. The smudging is definitely not the worst we've seen, but also not the best. Eraser still works pretty good. Not anything groundbreaking, but again, still not bad. The reason we actually still have Blackwings today is that in 2008, the California Cedar Production Company acquired Blackwing. And the thing is though, this was in name only. So they basically, to the best of their abilities, tried to just recreate the lead that the Blackwings used. And I guess they did a pretty decent job. The Blackwing 602 itself, I'm pretty sure was reintroduced in 2011. Our next pencil up is the Blackwing Pearl. This has a bit more balanced of a lead. It's meant to be kind of a middle ground pencil, like on the darker side, but it still has that good bit of durability to it. Oh yeah, that is dark. That is pretty close, if not being the darkest pencil we have done so far. I mean, the hardest Blackwing lead was still pretty dark, and this is just even darker. Overall, I think it writes pretty good. It does smudge pretty decently. That's a pretty decent smudge. I wonder how it erases with how dark it is. Honestly, that's not a very good erasing. This makes me really wonder how this final Blackwing pencil is gonna turn out. This is the Blackwing Matte. I really do like the matte black on this pencil. I think it looks really sleek. It's supposed to be Blackwing's softest lead, which means it's gonna be pretty dark. It's also gonna be the least durable lead, meaning it's probably gonna dull the quickest. Oh my gosh, but just off the bat, this is a really dark lead. I don't know, while the writing's good, I don't know if I would use it for everyday writing. It's just a bit too dark for me, honestly. I feel like the smudging is better than the Pearl, actually, though. That's interesting. I don't know if this is just my flawed testing methodology, or it's like actually better in terms of smudging. I also feel like this lead erases a bit better than the Pearl. Again, though, could just be my broken testing methodology. You know, I know this may sound generic, but out of the Blackwings, I honestly think I may like the 602 the most for like
daily writing. I think it has a good level of darkness. Smudging isn't horrible. The erasing is fine. Apparently it has good durability. I would need to test that out more. But I really do like it as a daily writer. I like how dark it is, especially compared to the Ticonderoga. Yeah, I really like this pencil. But I mean, I also really like the Mitsubishi for the writing. I may honestly keep in my pencil sack just with a extra eraser because I really do like the way this Mitsubishi writes. The Tombow, it's good as a backup pencil. And of course, I still love this Kurotoga just because of how good it feels in the hand. In the end though, if I were to use any of these pencils in daily use, they would all be pretty interchangeable. This, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't write very differently than this. Do I prefer writing with this more? Oh, now I kinda do. And I probably am gonna buy a 12-pack of Blackwings. Is the hipsterness of it a part of it for me? Yeah. Probably. But I mean, I also use a MacBook running Linux on it. That's just kind of who I am. But I guess that brings up the question though, is the Ticonderoga the world's best pencil? And the answer is, who knows? It's all subjective. There's a million factors that go into it. There's affordability, there's lead quality, there's eraser quality, and everyone has different priorities. For some people, the cost of the Blackwing, pretty inconsequential. And so it really does for them come down to the quality of the eraser, the quality of the lead, but you can honestly still have a really great writing experience for a fairly low cost. And heck, this default number 2 pencil is still great in a lot of ways. Its eraser has consistently been up there with like the best of these. And it's trusty and reliable. If I'm walking around with this, I don't care if I'm gonna lose it because I know I can afford to buy another one too. There's just a whole bunch of factors that go into being the world's best pencil. In the end, it's just a silly marketing thing. And this whole video doesn't really matter, and it was an excuse for me to try out a bunch of fun pencils. Because it's a world that I didn't really know much about, and I learned a whole lot. I wouldn't have known that there were like dedicated pencil YouTubers unless I fell down this rabbit hole. And I think that's a pretty fun thing. If you guys liked this video and you would like to see me compare some other things like, I don't know, pens, smash like, let me know in the comments down below. The pen video would be very expensive. You don't understand how expensive pen gets. They go into like the hundreds of dollars. So you guys would have to be really interested for me to do the pen video, but I'm down to compare anything. I think it's fun to take a look at the differences in all of these things. But with that, I'm off to go buy some Blackwings. My name's Jack, and this is what I did.